All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, March 16th. We got an 8-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, make sure to keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays, so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of how we did yesterday, let's run it. That's right, an 0-3 sweep. We were the dustpan, not the money gun, not the broom yesterday. An 0-3 night. I feel like it was like, you know, in baseball when someone's pitching a no-hitter, you don't want to talk about it. I feel like every time we go on a little bit of a run, like a 3-day win streak or on something like that, something small, I talked about it in the video and boom, just smacks us in the face. But Sundays are so weird. Only full unit loss there was Brandon Ingram under 22.5 points. Good look. He went for like 36. Pistons on the money line. And honestly, the same game parlay had a chance. Blazers money line, Denny Advia 15 plus, and then Scoot 10 plus. But the Blazers end up not pulling that one out against the Sixers. What was the final score there? I believe it was, they lost by a couple. Yeah, 103 to 109. So a rough night for us yesterday. Well-deserved womp there. But you know what? Let's get the vibes turned around. Because holy Santosh. Are you kidding me? Pumping some crowd noise. A 7-day win streak for the ride of the day. We called him Sanstradamus. It's kind of a tongue twister. Over on Instagram, we talked about it. But another ride of the day win for Santosh. What I think is crazy is the fact that, you know, Santosh is just an absolute confirmed psycho at this point. Can see the future, but a psycho. Jazz, Blazers, Pelicans, Nuggets against the Spurs, Pelicans, Magic, Kings. These are the teams this dude is picking, and he is cashing. So you know what? We got to give credit where it's due. This guy's on a 7-day win streak with the ride of the day. Who cares how psycho he is? Shout out to Santosh. Let's get a W Santosh down in the comments for some good luck. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. All you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day or ROTD down in the comments. I jump on board with at least one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll and ride with your plays, which is exactly what we're doing with Santosh lately. So looking forward to seeing what he drops today. But let's go ahead and dive into game number one. Guys, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. We got a good game here. So let's start with the Atlanta side of things, because this Atlanta team is arguably one of the, actually not even arguably, one of the hottest teams in the NBA, but as are the Magic. My only gripe I have with this Atlanta run is that it's come against Brooklyn, Washington, Portland, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Dallas, Brooklyn, Milwaukee. Like, where are the quality wins, right? Where I will give them credit is they are dominating in terms of, like, the scores that they're outputting and the win margins that they're winning by. It's like, yeah, they're doing what they should do against bad teams, and they don't create the schedule. Now, you look at Orlando, and they're doing a very similar thing, right? They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. But where I give them a little bit more credit, and by the way, yes, I do like Orlando plus the 3.5. I think it's just a little bit too big, similar to that Miami game, but no one's an idiot for taking either side here. This should be a very competitive game. But Orlando, Miami, Cleveland, you know, they have the Minnesota win in there. They played Houston tight, did ultimately lose, but played them tight. They beat the Lakers in LA. Like, this is a Magic team that I just think has been battle tested a little bit more lately. If we take a peek at the injury report, nothing major has changed. Howard is questionable, but Black and Franz Wagner still out. Kuminga questionable for the Hawks. And this is where I think I get a little bit of a boost of confidence. Right here in the play types, right? You could see, if we go to favorable matchups, the only thing that really sticks out to me is that transition for Orlando. You put them in a favorable, actually we can just use it, quick filter, favorable matchup, and their average win-loss margin is +7. Looks pretty good, right? So I think I can sign off on the Magic here today. If you want the bad news from the Magic, yeah, I mean, they are on the front end of a back-to-back, and a lot of those green circles kind of go away when you look at them on the front end of a back-to-back. But to me, they've just been battle-tested a little bit more. Would it shock me if if the Hawks win today? No, they're playing unbelievable. And again, even though I rag on their strength of schedule, one, they can't choose that, and two, they are absolutely pummeling these teams. So it's like, yeah, we're getting bad teams, but we're doing what really good teams do to them. It's not like they're eking out wins against Washington and stuff like that. In terms of the total, I could see some points in this one, right? You have obviously the Hawks who like to run. I mean, maybe not so much as of late, but it's realistically like they've played some really bad teams. So even if you look at them to this line, it's going to be like, oh, well, they've only gone over in 4 games. Yeah, but if they go up against a team that has any sort of an offensive pulse, you start to see a few more green bars, right? So if I think this Magic team can score in transition, I think that this Hawks team obviously should be pretty damn good as well. I like the idea of an over. In terms of a player prop, let's see if we can pull up the one that we like here, because it is a big number and it should kind of, I don't want to say scare, because it's an interesting spot, I should say this. So we know the Magic like to play single coverage, right? And Jalen Johnson could go out there and play really, really well. I mean, he's more of a transition guy than just like isolating in the half court. But what I found interesting is if you put Jalen Johnson at home, which he is today, right? And you say, okay, well, go up against a good defense. He's crushing his PRA line, right? If you go up even more against a good defense, look at these last couple games: 50 against Phoenix, and this is PRA, 43 against Miami. And he is a guy that can get to the foul line, so when he can take a lot of foul shots, looks okay as well. I mean, obviously kind of a dip here, but that was a game in which he got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. So if we want to just be real fair, we could say, okay, well, he's at least going to play, 30 minutes. How does he do in these games? Yeah, still pretty good, right? So I think Jalen Johnson's in a great spot today. The problem is, do the rebounds not come? Do the assists not come? Should we only be looking at points because he's going to get that single just mano-a-mano coverage? And his points line at 21.5 right now on FD. Maybe something worth pulling the trigger on. So it's either points or PRA. Keep an eye on the final plays if it does interest you. We'll see what we got there today. All right, Washington taking on the Warriors here. Now, this is a game in which I don't think we have too much interest in. The only thing that I would potentially look at here could be an under, because I don't think that either one of these teams are playing all that efficient. So maybe you could convince me of that. But again, this is a crap game. And there are some good spots, like the game we just talked about, that may be worth more digging today, right? In terms of, this Warriors team, they are still right now a playoff team, right? They're in the 9 spot. I mean, they have some room here, so they might be playing complacent and stuff like that, but still, kind of a sad story to where they are. But overall, this Wizards team knows exactly what they are, right? So if I had to pick a side, I guess I would still look at the team that maybe thinks that there's a glimmer of hope, but is there really? I don't know. Give me the Warriors as well as the under, and then certainly no player props in this one. That may have been the quickest breakdown in the history of this show. I didn't even have to ramble about it. Now, because we saved some time, let me talk to you about there you go. Let me talk to you about Sleeper, guys. They still are offering the free $20 entry to anyone that just signs up. You head over there, you use the link down in the description or the pinned comment, either one, whichever is more convenient for you, or you just download Sleeper and plug in code GUYBOSTON. You're going to get a free $20 entry. You just sign up. No credit card. No deposit, nothing like that. Now, if you do deposit, you'll also get your first deposit matched. So it's kind of like double dipping here. You get the free $20. You'll also get a first deposit matched, and you're going to get a free pick for today as well. So go check it out, guys. No reason not to. A free $20 entry. If you're walking down the street, you see a $20 bill on the ground. What are you going to let the other guy pick it up? Dive on that thing, pick it up. Who knows what you could turn that into? You can invest it and boom, something takes off, right? Same thing here. You throw in a kind of risk-free-ish type of play with a free $20 entry, could turn into something. You could have a nice little bankroll over on Sleeper. So go check it out, guys. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. They have a ton of game picks as well, and guess what? Sleeper just upped their payouts to be kind of world-class in the market right now. No more like the 2.6x or 3x for a 2-man, 3-man, that type of thing. No, they are like 3.5x, 3.6x. It's really cool. Check it out. That link, again, will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. If you don't know where the links are now, you haven't been listening. Description, pinned comment, or just use code GUYBOSTON. Next up, we got Brooklyn taking on Portland. So this Brooklyn squad, obviously one of the worst teams in the league right now, right? 2-8 in their last 10, but it's kind of how they're losing as well. They're losing some of these games by a ton. Like they have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of their last 10 games. 5 of their last 8 losses are by 15 plus. So you might look at this and say, okay, well, Portland isn't exactly the craziest team in the world, but 10.5 points seems like a lot. Is it? The Nets, when they lose bad. Over the last 10 games, this is including an 11-point win against Memphis. Their average win-loss margin is minus 14.2. Now, I flip it over to Portland, and I can't sit here and look you in the eyes and be like, oh, Portland covering this 10.5 number, is that great? But I know we talked about it yesterday against Philadelphia. When they do play a really bad team, like some of those games start to look a little bit more favorable for them. But still, 10.5 points just seems like it's a little bit much. But point being here, I don't think you're going to get me to the Brooklyn side of things right now. Let's take a peek at the injury report because these guys are on back-to-back, so we'll see how this plays out. Keep an eye on it. They obviously have a little bit more time to submit their lineups, but we know we're not going to get Michael Porter Jr., Terrence Mann, Clowney, even Ben Seraph, who does kind of take some steps up when some of these guys are out. He's questionable here, so again, there's some good games on the board today. I'm not trying to force anything, especially after a masterclass yesterday of an 0-3 night. I'm probably going to lean towards the Blazers, but I don't know if we fully get there. Maybe the Blazers in an SGP with this game, if Denny is playing, because I could see him having a good game, or just them on the money line parlay, something like that, because I don't think they lose 2 games in a row against the Sixers and then the Nets. But again, kind of depends on who's in, who's out. Now, this total at 221. Portland yesterday, obviously, ends up not having the best of games. They only scored 103. Philadelphia only scored 109. Maybe Portland is trying to slow things down a little bit on the road here. Now, on the road this season, it wouldn't appear to be like that. They're like a top 5 pace team on the road. But at the same time, even as much as we want to say Portland could dominate this one, the Nets, we can give them credit, right? They do play really, really slow. They have had some, even against Atlanta recently, right? Atlanta beat them by, 11 points, but it was a game that finished in the low 200s. So maybe there is a little superpower there that's somehow just slowing things down. I'm going to lean slightly towards the under. I want to get to Denny. I think that this could be a good matchup for him, but he's on a back-to-back. Do we get full minutes? There's some question marks there. So I don't think Denny has a bad game if he does play. He really has no negatives in terms of this matchup. And based on what we saw yesterday, 25 against Philadelphia, we may start to see that old Denny come about. You know what I mean? He went for, what did he play? 38 minutes yesterday, 25 points, 7 of 19, and he got to the foul line. That's what we thought again, right? So if he gets the foul line here against the Nets, I could definitely get on board with Denny. Celtics taking on the Suns. While being a Celtics fan and trying to remain unbiased, I do think this is a massive number. Not massive, but in terms of how the Suns are playing, this number should be a little bit smaller than it is, I guess, in a sense. Here's the thing, though. If we head in and take a peek at the Suns, so check it out right here. They like to isolate and they like to hit the spot-ups, right? That's their their favorite play types in terms of where they have success. If we look at them in games where they have tough spot-up matchups, all of a sudden, there's still a lot of green, right? But all of a sudden, you start to see some of these games drop. But the big one for me is right here against isolation. All of a sudden, you do start to see some recent games where things struggle, like this game against Boston. Now, if we look at this box score, this is a game that, the Suns did not have who they wanted. They didn't have Booker. They didn't have Brooks. If we take a peek at the injury report today, it looks a little bit better. Right now, still looks like we're not going to have Mark Williams and Dylan Brooks, but ultimately, Devin Booker's playing, and this is a team that obviously, with Devin Booker, plays a little bit better. So how do we look at them in isolation with Devin Booker? A little bit better, right? I don't think I take this myself because I just can't get myself to push the place bet button against my own home team, but 8.5 just seems a little bit too much. I'm going to give the Suns a little credit with Booker against tough isolation. They still cover this number. I'm going to lean towards the Suns plus the 8.5 points. I think the Celtics can win the game or should win the game, to be completely honest, but 8.5 just seems like it's a lot to be laying to this Thunder team that is playing really good basketball. You even just strip out all these filters if you want to see how they've been playing. Check it out, right? They're 6-4 overall. They're 5-5 against their number. If they get 8.5 points, they're 8-2 against his number on the season, 79. On the road, it's still pretty damn good as well, 78%. So it's just too big of a number here. I'm not trying to tell you that I think the Celtics lose this game. Now, with the total this low, I want to call out a couple things. You might be looking at this being like, oh, wow, the Suns, they've been crushing this number, right? And you can even say, hey, the Celtics, take a peek at them. They've been going really low in this number. But two things are kind of interesting here. First and foremost, you can see the Celtics, their effective field goal percentage, they do have the skewed one against Brooklyn, 80.8. That's ridiculous. But they do have some middle-of-the-pack effective field goal percentage numbers, and they're staying right in this realm, right? If we go back to the Suns, some of these numbers, 58, 59, 67, 55, do we think that they're going to do that against the Celtics? I don't, so I'm not immediately jumping to an over. I think this one could be a very, very low-scoring game. You have two teams that on the season like to play slow. Suns at 26, Celtics at 30th. In terms of the last 3 games, Celtics also at 30th, and the Suns also at 26, right? You flip to home and away. The Celtics at home, 30th. The Suns on the road, 21st. So I think we no matter which way we cut it up, we probably have a low-scoring game. The only way that I get to this is if this number somehow moves up and up, because 213... it's kind of crazy to think you could have a 110 to 105 game and it's over this one by a possession. So I do lean under, but I'd need a bigger number. Right now, I'm liking Derek White over 9.5 rebounds plus assists. I want to see if there's an 8.5 out there too. There may be, because over on FD right now, this is pretty near even odds. But this is him going up against a squad that is kind of a marginal rebounding team and at home. And look at that, like that's pretty damn crazy, right? He's averaging 4.6 rebounds and 6 assists, averaging 10.6 rebounds plus assists. Now it's kind of interesting because you look at this and say, okay, well the potential assists when this number is red over on buckets2bucks.com, it means it's less than a season average. But realistically, in his last 5, these things have been looking good. 12 potential assists, 7.2 rebound chances. I like the idea of including both because he could have a high assist night, low assist rebound like here, right? But he could also have a game in which, he has 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, you don't really know exactly with Derek White. Now, also, we want minutes to be a factor here. And the way that we get to minutes, I would say, is this. We have a close enough game. So this is going to be a game in which the Celtics, they're 8.5 point favorites, right? Let's say they win by 1, but with a maximum of 10. So they don't blow them out. Derek White in those games, you could see somewhat consistent overall in, I guess, just in that realm of games. But what we could see here is 37 minutes, right? So yes, he's not necessarily hitting this line. He's coming damn close. But in games in which he is a close game, he plays 37 minutes. So let's go 32 to 36 minutes. How does he fare if we just look at him on the season, right? 55% hit rate. Let's toss him in at home because why not? He's averaging 9.3. That's close to the number. Let's say at home against a rebounding squad. That's middle of the pack. Boom. Last 4 games, 11, 15, 10, and 11. It's kind of what I want to see. So Derek White over 9.5. I hope we can get an 8.5 if we wait. Rebounds plus assists would probably be the player prop I'm looking at here. Which, by the way, guys, I just mentioned it. That was buckets2bucks.com, our very own NBA research tool. If you do want to check it out, that link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Use code BUCKETS. You get a 3-day free trial to see if you like the tool. We have a ton of stuff here. A schedule page that's free to everybody. You can look at matchups, and it'll actually call out and identify key matchups, advantages that each team has. We have a lineups page with up-to-date injuries. You can hover over, see what the injury is. This thing updates all the time. Money line with all of these filters that you guys love, right? And then the player props like we just talked about. We have the plethora of player props. You come in here and say, okay, let's take a peek at him. We can look at his play type analysis. We can look at the injury report, look at latest news, right? What about these easy filters that we have? A lot of investigating that you guys can do. Catch and shoot, pull-up data, previous guard / forward / centers versus the specific team that he's going up against today. A lot of cool stuff. Defense first position, right? And we're also making these tools that are unique to Buckets to Bucks. For example, the injury impact tool. This is one of the coolest things that we have. We know that Steph Curry is out for the Warriors, so we could click this, or you could just type in, like Steph Curry if you want to find a specific player, but we know he's out. You could just click him, right? It's going to now analyze their team and talk about who, or show you visually who gets more minutes, who gets less minutes, who gets more usage, more rebounds, plus assists, all that type of stuff. Now, Steph, being such a high usage guy in this team, clearly a lot of green here, but for example, someone like Jimmy Butler, actually, when he did play without Steph, he only had 5 games without him before getting hurt. He actually played less minutes, so just some cool stuff like that. We also have the correlation finder, right? Say I really like Derek White's over 4.5 assists today, which I kind of do. We go and say Derek White, right? Select him, you say, okay, assist, and let's just put in 4.5 and then say find. So this is going to look at the Celtics games and say, hey, anyone, how does it impact guys when Derek White gets at least 5 assists? Who gets more points? You can see Ron Harper Jr., weirdly enough, averaging 10.6 points compared to his 7.6 on the season, or this is a good one. Peyton Pritchard, 17.8 when Derek White gets that. His line today is just 14.5. Boom, 3.3 more points when Derek White hits his assist. So if you really are confident about a certain play, it might be cool to kind of dive in and be like, oh, it correlates to that because things could happen, like a ripple effect. Anyways, I've yapped about that enough. Go check it out, guys. Buckets2bucks.com. I'm incredibly proud of this tool, and MLB is coming soon. That thing is going to be absolutely electric. Get in now. It's $9.99 per month after the trial. When MLB launches, the price will go up slightly, but you'll be grandfathered in at the price that you get in at, so you might get a little bit of a discount there as well. Buckets2bucks.com. Go ahead and check it out. Bulls taking on the Grizzlies. The only thing that I look at here, I think that number is really, really high in terms of the total. 243.5 for a Bulls team that, yes, as we know, they like to run, right? Last 3 games, they like to run when they're at home. It does slow down a little bit, but still a higher paced team. But this number, I mean, they're not getting up over this line, and I think it's because of the effective field goal percentage, right? Like, this thing is hovering for the most part, right around the low 50s, and even their opponents kind of in that realm. Now, we could flip over to Memphis and be like, okay, well, they're getting damn close, but look at their effective field goal percentage. It's consistent, but consistently kind of in that mid-50s range. So I do think that we have a look here in which, yeah, this probably is a high scoring game. It could be a 123 to, let's say 123 to 120, right? It's like really high scoring, still a half point underneath this total. Now, I don't have this game pegged at that score. I'm just saying, for an example, it could be a high scoring game from the numbers perspective, but still lower than 243. So I do like the idea of an under, and it's strictly because I don't think either one of these teams is, tremendously gifted in the offensive realm. In terms of, defense, this Memphis team was playing a little bit better defense at one point of the year. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that they're doing that anymore. They've dropped into the bottom, 10th in the league and stuff like that. So I can't say that, but do we really think that, in terms of scoring zones and stuff, this is like the best matchup for either one of them? I don't. So yeah, under for me. If I had to pick a side, this is a tough one because it is seemingly kind of like a crapshoot, but Memphis, I think that's where I would go. This is a squad that, they may have some of these younger guys playing and trying to prove themselves. They may be trying for 48 minutes, whereas the Bulls, I don't know if I'd put them in that camp. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt. Not much research went into that. It's more of a vibes play. The only thing that really, we dug into was that under. And I think that the lack of offensive efficiency from either team worries me if you like the over in this one because it's such a high number. Pelicans taking on the Mavs. I've fully become a NBA League Pass Pelicans fan. I think this team's really, really fun to watch. And rightfully so. Like, this Pelicans team's obviously not a very good team in terms of where they are in the season and stuff like that, right? If we take a peek at them in the standings, yeah, it doesn't look all that great. But realistically, they've been playing some good games. If we look at their lineup now, DeJounte Murray's questionable. That's a big piece of this. But if we look at their lineup, say DeJounte Murray, Trey Murphy, Sadiq Bey, Zion Williamson, Herb Jones. Now, obviously kind of a positionless lineup, but that's a decent lineup. Jeremiah Fears off the bench. Queen, this is a team that actually has some pizzazz to them. It's like the Hornets and the Pelicans are two teams that I've just absolutely, loved watching, even if we don't have plays on them. That being said, 8.5 points is a lot of points here, right? If you look at them head-to-head against this Dallas squad, they've covered it, and I guess they've covered their line in all of these, but they haven't covered this 8.5 point yet. I think the Pelicans could be a competitive team here, but as long as Cooper Flagg plays, and Klay Thompson's probable, which is obviously good, I do think that 8.5 points seems like it's a little bit too much. You do have the Mavs on a back-to-back, losing by 10 to Cleveland there, so sure, you could say back-to-back, but let's go with, let's say Cooper Flagg's playing, and let's throw in Chris Middleton, and I guess, who else we got? PJ. I guess we're going to get too small of a sample size. And honestly, the sample size we do have is them getting blown up by 20 to Boston. Point being, I just think it's too big of a number. Does it mean that I think that the Mavs are going to win this game or do anything? No, this is in a weird way similar to the Suns and Celtics game where I think the Pelicans can win this game. And I think that they honestly do have the far better talent here, which not a lot of people may think, but 8.5 is it's a big chunk. And this Mavs team, we've seen them recently be pretty competitive. Now, the back-to-back, that could, be a little bit of an issue. But still, I'm going to lean towards the Mavs here. The Mavs in this spot. But I think the Pelicans could get this game, could win this game. In terms of the total, now this, much like we just talked about with the Bulls, I think is a high number. Now, we look at both teams in terms of their effective field goal percentage here, and you could even see the Mavericks are starting to kind of climb. And that's interesting, a couple games in a row here. But before that, very, very strugglesome. Last 10, 49.6. But let's toss Cooper Flagg on for them. It does jump to 52. So he makes a big, big difference. And if we remove that and say in games in which, they shoot at least 52 from the, I'll go 53 because that's where it ended up. It still isn't all that crazy, but they do average 241 in some of these games, which makes sense why that number is right there. At home, 244. So I start to lean towards an over. Then we do the same thing here, and I want to throw on DeJounte Murray, even though he may not play, but obviously that's been a big addition to this squad. Their effective field goal percentage since DeJounte Murray's come has been 53%. So if we now remove him and just say, okay, well, in games this season, when they go 50 and we added one, so we'll go 54%, these games are pretty high scoring. We throw them at home because that's where they are, 249. So I do think that this, like I said, it's similar kind of immediately to that Bulls and Memphis game, but they're actually, if we use effective field goal percentage properly and apply it there actually is a decent chance that this one gets up and over that number. So I lean towards the over. Listen, this is a big enough number, I get it, but this should be a good spot for Zion. I mean, he's going up against a team that does struggle at defending the paint. You can see he's obviously kind of struggled to that number. He's been damn close, but realistically, like I said, it should be a good spot. He can isolate, right? They don't stop forwards all that well. And just using his shot profile, we have where he shoots from and how he shoots. He likes to take pull-ups. Well, good. This is a team that's bottom 10 in terms of field goal percentage overall, and then 3-point percentage, we don't expect that much from him, so I'm focusing more on this. But check it out, rim in the paint. Like, this should be the spot in which we see him be able to score. And again, they're good at defending the 3-point line, really bad at the paint. So Zion is definitely someone that I have my eye on here. Yes, real quick, another promo. I know, but I did forget to mention at the beginning of the video, we do have our March Madness Survivor contest going right now. Just $10 to enter. You pick a team each day. If they win, you advance. If they don't, boom, you're out. That's the point of Survivor. Much like an NFL Survivor, the winner, you can enter for $10. The winner's going to take home nearly $3 grand, $2,700 to the winner. And you can enter up to 5 times. If you want to take your spin at it, throw in 5 different entries at $10 a piece, pick different teams each day, you might be walking home with $2,700. You got a 1 in 300 chance. If you put in 5, all of a sudden those odds go a little bit up for you. Check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well. Yeah, join the madness, guys. It's going to be really fun for March Madness. We'll have some content coming out for that, but get in the Survivor pool. We got to fill this bad boy up. Check it out. Again, that link will be down below. Rockets taking on the Lake Show. Now, this Lakers squad has been playing really good basketball. I mean, LeBron James coming back, a lot of people are saying is bad for them, but they were playing really well too when he was there. And we did see this matchup recently, and I guess not recently, it's a Christmas Day matchup. Not recently, sorry. And this is a game in which Austin Reeves only played a few minutes, but they did have the big three. Houston beat them 119 to 96, though. We saw a really good game out of Amen Thompson, Durant, Jabari Smith. Şengün didn't have the craziest game, but realistically, Amen and Durant had a good one. This is one of the better games on the slate, we'll say, right? Not just from the spread, but kind of how these two teams match up. This Lakers squad is going to be a squad that likes to get in the paint. Well, the Rockets obviously a decent paint defense, which is great. The Lakers also like to operate in the pick and roll. Well, guess what? This Rocket squad, one of the best teams at defending the pick and roll, which I do think is a big deal. If we look at this right now, right? And all we have this filter to is tough matchups in the pick and roll. This is on the season. You can see a lot of losses from this Lakers squad, not covering even the 2.5-point spread. We put them on the road. It looks a little bit better, but still, some of these good teams, Cleveland, San Antonio, OKC, they're losing to by big, 29, 16, 30. They're beating Chicago, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, sure. So the pick and roll is a big thing that kind of sways me towards Houston over here. But like I said, there's a couple things that I look at and I'm like, hey, this is a spot in which, should be a really good matchup. Like, this is a Lakers squad that struggles at the 3-point line. Well, the Rockets really don't care, and I'm just using, last 3 numbers, but they're very similar to the season. Don't really care about the 3-point line. They're going up against a team that does, to some degree, play somewhat of a decent enough defense down low, and the Rockets don't have anything consistent going on there. Now, like I said, I do like the Rockets simply because I think their defense matches up better against Lakers offense, but I'm going to say Rockets and the under. I think the Lakers obviously are a team that can score some points. The defense lacks at times. But in this very matchup, I could see somewhat of a decent matchup and kind of two, heads colliding and shots being missed and stuff like that. But I do think the Rockets eke this one out. If this was, I'm not going to lie, if this one was even like a 4.5, 5.5 point spread, I may be tail spinning over to the Lakers because this Rockets team in close games seems to not get it done, but they are at home. It is just a 2.5 point spread. So, yeah, I think this is somewhat of a pick 'em. You put them on a neutral ground. Maybe it's like a 1-point favored spot for the Rockets, right? Like, this number makes sense to me. So I'm looking at the Rockets here. Do I think there's like an edge on it? Maybe not. It just makes sense. And I like the under. Now, in terms of player props. How can we ignore this? Luka Doncic, obviously a guy that likes to score in the pick and roll and the pick and roll ball handler. 7th best, though. We already talked about how the Rockets are good at that. And also, if you want plus money, 8.5's there, but over 7.5 assists, right? 2 assists per quarter. I like that. And look at how good this looks. The minute we just say tough matchup, boom. Look at all these assists, right? Last 5 games here, averaging 16 potential assists. If we give him at least 16 potential assists we'll go on the season, right? And by the way, 7.5, he's already hit this in 64% of games. When on the road, he's hit it in 64 as well. But what are we doing? 16 potential assists, right? If he gets at least 16 potential assists, come on. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, that is absolutely crazy. Last time they did play, he finished at, let's look at this season, right? This one game. New thing, by the way, we have, head-to-head this season for traded players. We have some of these toggles, so obviously making improvements. But last game, he only had 8 potential assists against them and finished with 7. So, come on. Like, that he converted nearly all of his assists and still almost hit the over. So, Luka over 7.5 assists, definitely something that's on my radar for today. Clippers taking on the Spurs. This should be a really good one as well. Now, the Spurs are not on a back-to-back. They're on the front end of a back-to-back. They have Sacramento tomorrow, though. So do we expect, them to set anyone or anything like that? Maybe not, but Luke Cornett and Dylan Harper are out. So I think that is worth noting. On the other side of things, Kawhi Leonard is doubtful. So as I say, this should be a good game. It's not like an ideal game, right? But the Clippers, with the addition of Darius Garland, I do think gives them a little bit more life. But obviously, if Kawhi was playing, this is one of the hotter teams in the league, we'd probably see a lower number. If Victor Wembanyama is playing in this game, which there's no signs right now that he's not, De'Aaron Fox, they still have him, Castle, Champagnie, I think the Spurs get the job done. I'm a little eked out, I guess, or geeked out, whatever it is, without Kawhi Leonard, because that's obviously a guy that's been kind of playing on Pluto in a good way to make this a competitive team. And you can even see this. Now, they are covering 8.5, sure, but they're not winning games without Kawhi. We have that set, right? And this is a spot in which, they're going up against one of the better offenses, that's putting it lightly, and one of the better defenses, also putting it lightly. They're really not winning games, but they still are covering this number. So, I think the Spurs get the job done. Is this another, we've had a couple these days where I'm like, that number's just a little bit too big. Maybe they're more of a money line piece. Like maybe Spurs, Celtics, and then whatever, the Pelicans money line parlay for some fun today could be in the mix. But I think 8.5's a little bit too big. In terms of, and if Kawhi was playing, I'd be like all over the Clippers, but I don't think that line would be nearly what it is. In terms of the total, 231. Now, this Clippers squad without Kawhi, let's take a peek at that. I think I have to, I don't even know if I know it. So, first off, let's check this out. I don't think I've done this yet. 56.7 in their last 10 is their effective field goal percentage. We say, hey, you don't get your best player, Kawhi, right? And again, he's doubtful. Their effective field goal percentage drops to 54%. So, if we look at them and say, hey, you're not going to score, 55%, that's pretty tough, right? It's also a team that isn't the best three-point shooting team. They're going to have to take it down low against the Spurs. I think this could be somewhat of a low-scoring game. The Spurs, in some of these closer games, say we think this is going to be within, 10 points. A lot of unders there. They are on the road. They are on the front end of a back-to-back. Yeah, I think I'm going to lean towards the under 231.5 here as well. In terms of player props, I'm trying to make an argument. I'm not having any luck for Devin Vassell and Julian Champagnie to hit a couple threes here, but I don't mind the odds. I mean, you can see here, Devin Vassell, right? 2.5 for plus 140. We look at Champagnie. It's also, plus money for his 2.5 threes at plus 140. These are two guys that, look at Champagnie, right? His last time out this season, he had 5 threes against them. He shot it 8 times from 3. What about Vassell? Maybe I'm selling myself here already. Devin Vassell head-to-head. He shot it how many times from 3? Let's open this bad boy up. 8 times from 3. He could make 3 there. The other games are from last year, so I'm not putting too much. That's points, but either way, yeah. Did he hit 3? No, he only hit 2. I'm trying to make a case for those guys, but not having too much luck. You might see something. Maybe a same-game parlay with them. The Spurs winning, because I think this number's big, but I think the Spurs can win, and each of them to hit a couple threes. Something, again, more geared towards like entertainment, fun like that. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Comment 33 if you made it this far into the video. Larry, 33 down below. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.